this green, force-sensitive young lady.
They got me with it. They f***ing got me.
I'll wait to see where it goes. I cannot wait to see where it goes.
Disney f***ing getting me with a f***ing Baby Yoda. Mandalorian, episode 2, chapter 2, The Child. Oh, we didn't even rehearse that. Very good, very good. By the way, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. Cheers.
Cheers.
Episode 2. Whenever I'm watching a new series, I like to give it a few episodes to work itself in.
Cause not everything can catch you on their pilot episode.
I usually give a show a good...
I try to give it 3.
A 3, maybe a first half a season. What do you think as a second episode of a series?
It's still the greatest Star Wars fan film ever made.
As for a second episode, I was in love with it. I cannot get enough of Baby Yoda. I'm so sorry. I know I'm totally falling in for this Disney thing that they're doing with like big-eyed babies like Dumbo and Bambi.
That is gonna sell a lot of plushies.
I don't know if they're gonna sell merchandise on this. Like, what are they planning?
They're gonna be all over the place. I guarantee you. Disneyland 2020 is gonna have nothing but a bunch of floating cribs next to people.
So, great segue. So this is how the episode begins. So the Mandalorian has acquired the asset, which is a baby Yoda, we're going to call it a baby. And like we talked about last episode, we don't know what this species is called because George Lucas never wanted to identify the species. He wanted to keep it purposefully a mystery.
Yeah.
But which is kind of cool. Like, what the is this species? Is there a lot of them? Is there very rare? Are they all force sensitive? Child thing that's 50 years old, but obviously it ages differently, so it's a baby in its lifespan.
So
the Baby Yoda gets up and like, the way I interpret it is he's trying to heal him, right? Like he's kind of like trying to heal him. And it's a fucking cute. And he fucking motherfucker picks him up, puts it back. I'm like, dude, let him heal you, please.
Even he doesn't know.
I know, but okay, let me bring something else up, which is touching on this and touching back on all the way at episode 4. Like, people in the Star Wars universe, and wait, even not just episode 4, but episode 7, the new ones.
Yeah.
People in that universe don't realize what Jedis were.
Not really, yeah. It's almost like it was a small blip in their history.
Yeah, right?
It's like saying if there was like some kind of secret service that we never knew about.
Yeah.
That was just kind of there. It's like MI6 for us or something.
It blows my mind because episodes 1, 2, and 3, the Jedi were so relevant in society. They were part of the government. And then episodes 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, it's like, what the f*** are Jedi? What is the f***ing Force? Remember in episode 4 where Darth Vader's doing his death grip and...
your old sorcerer's ways.
Your sad devotion to that ancient religion has not helped you conjure up the stolen data tapes, or given you clairvoyance enough to find the rebels' hidden fort.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Your lack of faith disturbs me. Like, they don't know what it is. So it's kind of the same thing here where, like, the Mandalorian's like, what the f*** is this thing doing? And we're like, you don't know what the Force is? You don't know what Jedi are? You don't know any of this? So then he goes back to, I guess we're assuming Tatooine only because...
It seems like it's Tatooine because it's got a lot of Jawas.
The Jawas. Which you brought up a good point. Are the Jawas, are they native or indigenous to Tatooine only?
We don't know that because they're such good junkers. You never know if they've been off-world or not.
Well, we don't know that, but I feel like a lot of Star Wars people would know that. So don't judge us. Comment below. I know someone out there is gonna
They're gonna be like, you fool! They were
You
here.
fools! Jawas live everywhere. Special effects wise and creature wise, the Jawas are very simple. Episode 4, the Jawas, when they first appear, they have hoods, they have like glowing red eyes, and it's an obvious, it's very simple special effect, but they kind of made them better. I don't even know how you could make something so simple better, but they have, right?
It's almost like, well, instead of using little mag lights or something like that, it's almost like they created some kind of like eye light that went deeper into like the cranium or something.
Yeah, and again,
it's actually creepier.
And they use a lot of these practical special effects.
Even taking use of a lot of those weird things like in-screen VFX. Like old special effects in the beginning when he's repairing his suit and you see like the little sparks. That's a tough technique to do at home because that's an actual firework you gotta put in the middle of your prop that someone either off camera or on camera has to activate.
The visuals and special effects in this are f***ing awesome. He's going back to his ship and he realizes that these motherfucking Jawas are f***ing stealing his shit. And I've always loved Jawas, but now the Jawas. Eventually he goes back to the Nick Nolte character. Thank you for returning back, by the way. Nick Nolte's like,
He's like, you need to get your stuff back from them because you pissed them off.
He's like, what kind of vaporized them? I kind of evaporated them. I love that.
His like disintegration rifle is a thing everybody's been waiting to see.
Yeah,
forever.
The thing is like, I love it. Again,
amazing.
It's Disney, so they can't really show gruesome death, but he's vaporizing them to atoms.
Yeah, it's like
so. Like in some sense,
you can't show an arm fall off, but confetti's just fine.
Right? You can't exactly. You can't show blood and guts, but you can totally show evaporation, which, in my opinion, is much worse. It's much more violent.
They didn't want him to bring his weapons, but that's part of like the Mandalorian way. They don't deal with anybody without the weapons.
Yes. So good point. So as far as the Mandalorian lore goes, that we're learning slowly about this is, number one, they don't take off their masks. Number two is like weapons are part of their religion, right?
Yeah.
So Clone Wars really goes into the Mandalorian lore, and you should really catch up because the Mandalorians have a black lightsaber. They have a black lightsaber. It's the most awesome thing ever. I'm not gonna spoil anything more than that, but when you have time, go back to the Clone Wars. It's on Disney Plus right now. Nolte tries to help him negotiate with the Jawas. Jawas like, all right, give us your armor. No. Give us the baby. No. Give us the egg. Right. So that's where he goes, fights the Mudhorn. By the way, the Mudhorn is a cool creature.
It is. It's kind of gross. It's like egg is like a shag carpet crabberry egg.
Yeah, most disgusting egg I've ever seen. Star Wars, like one of the best things about it is the creatures,
especially when we haven't seen before.
Exactly. Shit ensues. He tries to use this fucking egg, and then which is like the
Jawa delicacy.
A Jawa delicacy. So that's when the point of the episode, which is like the twist or like the reveal happens, which I feel we kind of saw coming. But as a Mandalorian was trying to kill the creature, was gonna kick his ass. What happens? What saves the day? Adorable baby Yoda puts up its cute little baby arms, and it saves the day. And it levitates this creature in the air, giving the Mandalorian enough time to stab it with a little knife, and it's a Yoda. But we saw it coming, right?
Yeah.
I was waiting for this baby to exhibit its force powers. I thought it was going to later happen in the series, but I was satisfied with the reveal either way.
I'm curious to see if this is going to like make force sensitivity like an issue in this show or not.
Well, because when you talk about force sensitivity, you talk about midichlorians, right?
Well, it all depends on what they're doing with the First Order and whatnot, because they made episode 8 was riddled with like, now we're gonna have a bunch of force sensitive preschoolers who now have like stories to tell of Luke and whatnot. So
right, but if you go back to episode 1, when they introduced midichlorians and like the whole like, oh, your blood count has so many force sensitive cells in it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what they're doing with this, where like this baby or these species of Yoda species, I don't know what they're called.
It all depends, because I don't think anybody's gonna like stand for that. If they're just like, oh, it's something in his blood that makes him levitate things, people are not gonna be cool with that.
I don't know. It's kind of already established in canon, thanks to George Lucas and his metachlorine explanation of the Force, but
Well, I guess he
we'll
wanted a scientific
see.
explanation for it.
It's like Disney knows what it's doing. It's like it's big, round, black eyes and its floppy ears.
It's gonna sell so many plushies.
And all of its like reaction shots, and the whole thing is just it's not even doing anything. It's like the Mandalorian does something and the Baby Yoda is just reacting and smiling. And that's a puppet, right? It's a puppet.
It looks like it's a hybrid, like a puppet that's got like little CG bits here and there. Like
It's got little hairs on its head.
on a close up, they might add like the hairs or like a blink or
Pretty
something.
babies. And it's funny because the original Yoda was a puppet, right? It was a Muppet.
Mhm.
So it would be very fitting to have the baby Yoda. I can't get enough of this thing. Every time it's on
It's
screen.
a fun contrast. It's like you've got like new life and death right next to each other.
Right, yeah, you know, that's a good point. I didn't even think of it that way. It's like baby, life, death. Baby, life, death. There's a lot of memes of like Baby Yoda just watching the Mandalorian vaporize Jawa. It's like murder, murder. Second episode, I feel is pretty solid. Again, not a lot
Still
of.
reeling us in though.
It's got me. It's got me. I love this show. It's still fun. Welcome back. Episode 3. Alright, guys.
It's crazy.
We'll see you next episode. Mastermind. Cheers.